Hi everyone, Janie here. Welcome back to my garden. It's a very cold, crisp morning here in Northern California, but it's a very exciting day. You can see I'm over by my birch trees in my side yard, and they are coming out today, which I'm torn. I'm really sad about it because I love these birch trees here. They're so beautiful. They're just so struggling. They're sick. They are not doing well at all. So you can see right there, you can see that limb just fell over on our house a couple years ago. We had a tree guy here, not an arborist, a tree guy, and he gave us some not great advice, and he did some not great things to the birch tree apparently. Then we had an arborist come here, an ISA certified arborist come here, and he knew his stuff. He knew exactly what he was talking about. He told me this tree was not safe to be here this close to our house because it was going to fall over, and same with this tree, which is on the outside of my fence. So they had to come out, which it was the type of thing that I had been going back and forth about it for months and months and months, and I just didn't really know. I kind of would look at it and I'd be like, that doesn't look good, that tree doesn't look good, but the tree guy said it was fine, and so it was kind of a relief to hear from the arborist that my thoughts were correct, that this tree needs to come out. This tree, and then this tree's not far behind it. But this tree definitely needs to come out. And now that he said it, I feel like the tree has gotten even worse. I'll show you guys in a second. So anyway, we got on the books back in December for him to come out, his team to come out and take down these trees. And then we had massive windstorms, rainstorms here in Northern California. So we got put on the back of his list because there was more safety, pressing tree removal concerns, because the storms knocked over a bunch of trees. I mean, they were all over around our town and around the surrounding towns. It was an absolute mess. So they were really sweet, and they were really good at communication. Said we didn't forget about you. We just have more pressing concerns right now. I completely understood. I feel like this is important, but it's not on my house at this point. So I was completely fine with being on the back of the list. So we didn't know when it was actually going to happen. And so last night we got a note on our door saying, likely we'll be able to get here and remove these trees tomorrow. So that's today, which I'm really excited about, because I'm excited for this whole situation to just get wrapped up. And so unfortunately I have Master Gardener's training today, so I won't be here for the first half of the day, probably until 2:00. So I don't know what time they're coming. They didn't give us a time, but I wanted to come out here and I wanted to show you guys a whole before shot right before I leave for Master Gardener's. And then if Jason's home, he's gonna set up a camera just so that we can catch it on film so I can show you guys. And hopefully I'm home before they get here, but I don't know, and I don't want to bug them. They'll get here when they get here, basically. So here's the main birch tree that needs to come out. This was planted close to our house, and it has just been suffering. First of all, when we moved in here, this one wasn't even connected to drip, which is crazy because birch trees need a ton of water, and we are very, very dry here in Northern California, and it wasn't even connected to drip. So one of the first things I did is I connected it to drip just so that I could get some water, but it was too late. So I asked the arborist, so kind of my point for this video is to show you guys, you need to get a certified arborist to come and look at your trees, because I asked the tree guy about this and if this was okay, and he said, yeah, it's fine, it's no big deal. And then I asked the arborist, and he immediately said, no, the tree's dying from the inside, that's not a good sign. And you can kind of look at it and you can kind of see it's probably not a good sign, especially if a whole limb falls off onto your roof. You could kind of just look at this and tell that it wasn't a good sign. So this tree is definitely coming out. And then if I go out around my side gate, come around here, this tree is coming out, which I am super, super sad about. I think that this tree is so beautiful right here. I think it is just the perfect amount of vertical interest. If you look from the front of my house, it kind of frames the side of my house, and then my crepe myrtle frames the other side of my house. So I'm really, really sad to be losing this tree, but he told me it was not far behind the one that's inside the gate. And you can kind of see, if you look close, there's some places where it's lost some limbs. You guys see right there. And then that tree guy came and he basically cut the top of all the branches, which apparently you are absolutely not supposed to do with a birch tree. That basically starts it dying. So let me zoom in. Can you see that? Right there, right there, right there. So yeah, I'm definitely extremely disappointed about this one. And then I asked the arborist if I could just replace it and just put a new birch tree. And he said probably not, because the area here is just not enough room for the roots. And basically the roots that go under the sidewalk aren't getting any air, any transpiration, and that's the wrong word. Basically it's not getting any oxygen, and so it's basically just gonna be a sick, dying tree eventually anyway. So I'm gonna have to find something else for some vertical interest over here in my cottage garden bed. I haven't decided yet what I want to do. I know I want to do something, I don't know, I'll think about it. But here is the before shot of this poor thing. I'm really sad. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm really, really sad that it's going away, but I know it's the right thing to do. All right, so I've got to get going. I have my Master Gardener's class that I cannot be late to, and hopefully they don't come until I get home, but if they do, Jason said he'd put up a camera just to kind of catch everything. So hopefully we get this on film. If you guys are seeing this, then we got it on film, so that's a good sign. So anyways, I will be back after Master Gardeners. My brain will probably be fried, because that's what it's like after every Master Gardener's class. But yeah, so let's see how this goes. I will be back in a little bit.
So like what happens with these incorrect cuts, you know, these stems or these branches, you know, they have what's called a ridge and a collar. And if you cut inside of the ridge or the collar when you're making your end cut, what happens is, you know, decay can form inside of them. Like here, you know, the heartwood is called, starts to decay. You see that big piece up there?
Yeah.
You know, the resonance inside of that is just decayed down into like the main stem.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, the water can go into it. You just saw it started pouring out. Like,
That was crazy.
Yeah.
It was like dripping, no, splashing.
yeah, no, totally, absolutely.
So you think these trees, they were incorrectly pruned, and that probably
Part of, there's so many factors, you know, maybe
Yeah.
incorrect cuts, maybe, you know, all the compaction with all these rocks.
Yeah.
With the root system, but you know, this whole cork layer just comes off, and so it's the cork, and then you have the sapwood inside the heartwood.
So just not a healthy tree.
No, yeah, it had to go.
Okay,
Sure.
cool. Well, thank you.
Yeah, of course. That's
Mine. That's gross. That was gross. Okay, it's all gone. Crazy. So I am so relieved to get this thing out. Those guys, they were talking to me about how rotted, particularly this one was. That one wasn't as bad, and we kind of knew that, but this was really, really bad. I don't know if you all saw, but when he cut the part that was going out this way, the water like gushed out of it, which is just so sad because it means that birch tree has just been sitting there and rotting from the inside. So it's kind of bittersweet to see it like this. You know, it's all clear. I feel like it's safe now, so that's good, but it is also kind of sad to see it gone. So they did not grind the stump out because we have to get all these rocks out of here. They couldn't grind the stump until all the rocks are gone, so not even going to worry about that. That tree needed to come out, and now our next thing that Jason and I are going to start working on is getting all these rocks out of here so we can grind the stump out and then concrete it in. And then here's this one on the outside of the fence. Same thing, we didn't grind the stump out yet. It just looks so empty right now, you guys. I can't believe it. There's like no vertical interest at all. I don't know. I'm not totally sure what I'm gonna do. It's kind of like starting from a blank slate. So it is actually a couple days later. They didn't end up coming on Friday, the day that I had my Master Gardener's training course, because they ran out of time. They were trying to fit our job in after they did another big job, and they just ran out of time. They were here early Monday morning, and they got it done in about 45 minutes. So they were super professional, super knowledgeable. I will link them, the company name below in case any of you guys are local and you guys are looking for a good arborist, because as you heard the gentleman say, it was definitely pruned wrong. It was cut wrong, and that allowed all of that water to get into that birch tree, which basically caused it to rot from the inside, which is really unfortunate. And again, I don't think it was all the other tree guys' fault, because birch trees, like, they just don't last that long here because we're so dry and we're so hot, and you know, it just wasn't the right place for it. These were obviously planted before we moved into this house. So it's kind of like this whole birch tree ordeal is coming to an end. I do have to say, I was watching TV. I was watching one of those Gardener's World shows the other day, and they were doing tours of the Great Dixter Garden. I think I'm saying it right. I'll write it down here. But that garden apparently has a very big, long border, and maybe I'll do something like that right here, like just kind of mimic that really long, casual border that's at that Great Dixter. I think I'm pronouncing that wrong, but I'm not sure. Anyway, I'll mimic something like that. So I have a lot of thinking to do about what I want to do with this cottage garden bed. I still want it to be a cottage garden bed. I just have to decide exactly what direction that I want to take it now that that birch tree is gone. So anyway, I'm glad this is over with. I'm glad I had a good experience with this tree company, this arborist that we worked with, and now they are going to come back to prune our crepe myrtle tree in the front yard, which I'm actually pretty excited about because I think it'll do better getting a little bit of a trim because crepe myrtles bloom on new wood. So I think it'll be good for it. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this. Again, if you've learned anything from this video, it's to find a knowledgeable arborist, an ISA certified arborist if you live in America, to take care of your trees. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you all have a chance to get into your garden today.